Hello and welcome back. First off, I want to cover the video link that I posted last week. You need to understand there's nothing amazing about anything I did, nothing amazing about me. Do not, under any circumstance, get that confused. The only thing that it showed was how much of an idiot I was and how foolish I was. The only thing amazing about that video, or what happened to me, was that I was spared. If you feel the need to share something, share Jesus. He's the only thing that matters. At the end of December 2007, God showed me something which made me ill. I suddenly saw something that I had not anticipated to see. If He grants me enough time, then I will post the information on the anniversary for those of you who are willing to look, if you don't already know. After that time, I started looking at others who were trying to warn, and it became very apparent that they were only seeing half of the situation, half of the story. They did not comprehend the reason behind it, or maybe they didn't want to, but because I saw and I knew what it was, I had to tell people. It became important to me that I know what God said about various topics. I find nothing more incorrect than to say God says something that He doesn't say. So with that in mind, I read the scriptures. It took me 6 months to read the book from cover to cover, and when I had finally finished, something very disturbing, well, another wave hit me. It became very apparent that there are many topics in the scriptures which are not discussed from the pulpit. And that's bad. But what was even worse is the sudden realization that there was a lot of stuff that's discussed from the pulpit that cannot be found anywhere in the scriptures, nowhere, no how. I'm going to have to yell because it's raining a bit out there, in case you can't tell. So I will just tell you that I am 100% for Yeshua, and I am 95% against religion. I can't be completely against religion because I have more ministers and preachers and missionaries and everything else related to the church building in my family than I can count on fingers and toes. So this is, for me, a good thing. I would not have known about any of it if I did not have that background. But there's a lot that's taught in the church building that cannot be found in the scriptures. A lot of people tend to go around and saying, well, my minister said this, or my pastor said that, or my priest says this. They're not going to be the ones that stand in your place when it's your time to be judged. Consider when Jesus entered the temple and He turned over the tables and called the people who ran the church thieves, so they were desecrating the tabernacle. And when He was crucified, let's be clear, He died for all of us, therefore we each killed Him in our own way, and He rose again, so don't get caught up on the fact that He died and didn't rise up, because He did. And as a side note, He's only been gone for 2 days. And if you don't know that, that's probably because you haven't read the scriptures. But the people at the time who planned the crucifixion of Christ were from none other but the religious influence of that day. Not only did the religious rulers, leaders, the Pharisees and the Sadducees of the days when Jesus walked the earth the first time conspire to have him crucified. Keep in mind that the military might of that day came from Rome. If your minister is not warning you about what's coming, if he's not talking about everything that's taking place, why isn't he? So I quit writing checks to help fund this, that, and the other missionary project. And instead I started writing questions. Anonymously, of course. Because it was irrelevant who said it. It was just, the point was to have the minister look at what was going on, because ministers are supposed to warn their flock when things are coming. But it never happened. And I did this for about a month. Every Sunday, instead of putting money in the offering envelope, I put a note in there. I've just read this. Will you please look into this? Will you please discuss this with the church? Mr. Pastor so-and-so, this is just on the news. This is what the scriptures say. Will you please discuss this with the church? Pastor so-and-so, I saw this on the news. This is what the scriptures say. Will you please discuss this in the church? Will you please warn the flock? And they never did. And that was a very disturbing moment to realize that the minister, the preacher, wasn't going to take care of his people. It is important. It is very important that you read the scriptures, that you know what's coming. You need to read the book from cover to cover. You need to read more than half the story. You need to get the entire full picture. And you need to do it quickly, because that storm's coming. And when the storm enters your house, it's not going to bother to ring the doorbell.